All right, I think we are live. Hi, Phyllis. Looks like you're muted. Well, it's a little early and my desk is a mess. So anyway. Phyllis?
Hey, Rebecca.
Hi there. I still had my headset plugged in, so if you were speaking, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Nope, I wasn't speaking. Got my Wi-Fi and internet access challenge resolved at my new
Great.
house.
That's right. I remember you telling me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
all set?
Oh yeah, all is good. I got to do acoustic neuroma webinar this morning. So I started my day real early. They were on the East Coast, so it started at 8 o'clock for me.
Mm-hmm. What was the webinar all about?
Oh, it was a topic. It was updating on technologies that they're using for diagnosis and for surgery. Primarily, it's this super duper high end microscope that that they're using, as well as a robotic arm and an endoscope. And I was lucky enough when I had my first surgery in 2005, the surgeon that I found via the internet was in Los Angeles, and he had just moved from the East Coast, the same place that today's webinar came from. And he was using the robotic arm and the endoscope. So I got to benefit from that technology, and I had what was then known as a minimally invasive procedure, which was just spectacular. And, you know, then 9 years later, when I had to have surgery again, they didn't use any of those technologies. So in a lot of respects, I felt like I was moving backward.
How interesting to have more advanced technologies that much sooner. And then, yeah, that would kind of.
Yeah, and the new advances are even more spectacular. So it was a real interesting, it was a very short webinar. The doctor who was presenting it, I think 15, 20 minutes. And then for the next 45 minutes, he did nothing but take questions. And Melissa Bombick from the Acoustic Neuroma Association, she fielded all the questions. And I keep forgetting how knowledgeable she is about the whole acoustic neuroma situation. I think she's the developmental outreach program person that I wanted to put you in touch with. And I'm noticing on their monthly calendar that they're now having like some third party things where instead of registering on the ANA website, you go to a third party's website. So I'm hoping that's a way that, you know, you guys might be able to interface. Because I just signed up for one. It's at the University of Cincinnati's Wellness Center, and it's all about how and why to start a mindfulness practice, you know, which I absolutely love when people are acknowledging the whole mind-body connection.
Hmm. Yeah, you know what you're saying about the calendar reminds me what it seems like this is years ago, back on the Dry Eye Zone site, we used to have a calendar where we would try and consolidate any sort of meetings or support groups out there for dry eye back when there was kind of nothing out there. This is many years ago, and just kind of have links for people to sign up for different things. It's really, so, I mean, it's awesome that ANA is doing that just to just kind of help raise awareness of more.
Yeah, just recently, I've noticed a couple of online events that, aren't exactly the ANAs,
Mhm.
but, related topic and sending you to, third party website. And, I think that's really terrific because, we're just learning that not just, but there are so many resources out there. And I'm sure that the ANA doesn't want to link up with anything questionable,
Yeah, of course.
in terms of veracity and, all the other things, because we know about how weird the internet can be. So yeah, I missed, unfortunately, because of the issues with no Wi-Fi and the library closing early. I was not able to join the first couple of meetings that you had on scleral topic. So I was very happy when I was able to sign up today.
Oh, that's right. This is your first Scleral one.
This is
Right.
my first one. Yes.
All right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome, Davis. And I know you've been here before, right? I think you may have been here the last time we had this. I have to confess I'm having a bad eye day or bad eye week. I don't have my sclerals in, so I'm flying blind. And it looks like we may just be a very small group today anyway. If we get any larger, I'm just going to want people to speak up on their own and not have me call on them because I'm going to have just trouble seeing who's ready, when, and where. But Davis, jump in anytime if you like, or type something in the chat if you like. Yeah, Phyllis?
Oh, I was going to ask, when that's the first time I've heard you use the words bad eye day, bad eye week in quite some time. What's going on? And when you're having a bad eye day week, you can't wear your sclerals?
Usually sclerals are what I would want to deal with a bad eye day, but I have a kind of an episodic thing with my left eye. It does not happen very often. I could go a couple years in between episodes, and usually when it happens, it's very brief, like a day, where something's going on with the eye. The lens becomes uncomfortable, and if I wear it for any length of time, it's just very painful afterwards. And I'll go to the doctor, and they won't see anything, and it just becomes this exercise in frustration. Well, this time my left eye went on that way for 2 weeks, and I was just beside myself by the end of it. It's my non-dominant eye, so I can manage with just the right, but the left, when I don't have the lens in, just so hurts so darn much. It was a rough couple of weeks. So that cleared up and that was fine. And then something, I don't know, I might have like a very, very mild infection or something going on in the right eye that just started last night. I can't wear a lens. And since I'm right eye dominant, if I put my left scleral in, but not the right, then I'm just really dysfunctional. I can't see. So anyway, opted to leave them both out, and hopefully this will clear up in another day or two. I may try and go see someone about it tomorrow.
That probably would be a good idea because tomorrow is Friday.
Yeah, it sure is.
And things always seem to, it's happened to me before. If I don't attend to something by Friday, it just gets enormously worse over the weekend. And then contacting, a medical person on a Monday, trying to get in yesterday. Oh, well, we can't see you till Wednesday. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I end up in some kind of eye trouble, I end up kind of between a rock and a hard place because my local optometry folks at Kaiser, tends to be very difficult to get in on short notice there. And then an optometrist that I really, really love is just too far away for me to be able to reach if I'm having a hard time with my eyes because I just can't see well enough to drive that far. So, but this will pass anyway. So wow, it may just be us today. So Davis, are you a current Scleral Lens user?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I've been wearing Scleral lenses for about a month now. And really the only issues I've had, kind of similar to your left eye problem, is the left eye just seems to be, it just feels like a dry contact. But I know that it's moisturized and everything, but it just kind of causes some irritation. That's kind of the main thing I've noticed with the lenses, and I've used several different types of solutions and filling solutions, but it just seems like the left eye has just been causing some discomfort since I got them.
Mm-hmm. Is it something you've had a chance to interact with your doctor about?
Yes, I've seen. I had an appointment last week, and we're trying some different drops to see if that helps during the day, just as far as with the discomfort and the dryness. Though, like I said, I've tried a lot of different filling solutions, and one of the things they recommended is eventually to remove the coating. I'm not sure what type I have, but I know they're coated lenses. But the right one's perfect. It's just the left one that just kind of causes some discomfort. But
what's your reason for getting sclerals? Is it more about vision?
I was diagnosed with dry eye disease, or condition. So I get severely, I've had severely dry eyes for probably 6 years now.
Oh, wow.
And so I've tried several different kind of solutions and drops, and the I'm trying to think of the serum tears and all these other kind of solutions to use. And so far the scleral lenses have provided the most relief. It's just that one left lens has just been causing some discomfort though. But out of everything I've used, the scleral lenses have probably provided the most relief for my eyes, just because they're constantly burning and dry all the time, and it's really bad whenever I wake up in the morning though, despite whatever type of ointment and whatnot I may use before going to bed. But that's kind of just the background with mine. Like I said, it's been about 6 years, and I haven't really found a solution until scleral lenses.
Mm-hmm. With all the things you've tried, moisture chamber glasses on your list by chance? Do you get any relief from those?
I have not tried those yet. I know some people have discussed that, and I've seen those comments, and using mask in the mornings, and I'm just kind of looking around to see which one's kind of the best one to purchase and use, to see if that would kind of release some of the clogged oils in my eye, and see that's kind of the issues. They're just not really releasing anything, and it's the main issue for the dryness, for what my eye doctors have told me.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't tried any particular type of glasses or eye coverings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just mentioning, because those are, they're a pretty big thing in our community, really, for people who get to the severe end of the spectrum symptomatically. It's a pretty, and it's not like on its own it works any miracles, but alongside other things, it's a pretty reliable way just to get more comfortable when, especially with the kind of burning that goes on. Some people use them with their sclerals too. Just kind of depends on severity levels. Do you happen to know the diameter of your sclerals?
I'm not sure. I'm sure I have it on some documents somewhere that I've received. But I'm not sure I know they're very large and fit most of my eye. One of the things that my eye doctor had discussed is possibly reducing the size of the left one. Just that could provide some comfort, or some more comfort to the eye, because it might just be it's irritating the upper or the lower section of the eye or the lid. So that's one of the options that's been discussed, is reducing the left side size.
That's right. It's good that there's options and that they're, working with you on that. There's a lot of variables, a surprising number of variables that come into play with scleral lenses being comfortable. For one person, it might need to be smaller. For another person, it might need to be larger. I mean, I'm in the latter group. They have to be really large for me to be comfortable. Smaller, and I can't wear them. Everybody's different and needs their own little tweaks to that. Yeah. The one other thing I was thinking of, just because of, it sounds like your eyes get pretty unhappy by morning. Just thinking of like lid care, and you talked about like heat mask and things, but like lid hygiene products too. I mean, for me, especially at certain times of the year, using a good lid wipe before I get my lenses in the morning can make a real difference too.
Yes, I use Avenova every night, kind of post shower after I've already taken the lenses out, and then in the morning after I've washed my face, I'll use that before I put the lenses in. In my previous appointment, my eye doctor had noted that my eyelids were very clean, so it's nothing as far as bacteria or those that could be causing the irritation there, and they had noted how clean those were. But yeah, I use the Avenova spray and other eyelid, like OcuSalter, or maybe that's the type of brand that I've used, just as far as eyelid hygiene, just to kind of rule that out. But that's something I use probably twice a day. Nice.
Right. So how's the journey been for you with getting lenses, learning to put them in and take them out and all that?
I would say the first week I had them, it probably took me maybe like 30 minutes a day to kind of get used to putting them in. Maybe it was about 5 days and not 7, to kind of get used to putting them in correctly and whatnot though. But now I've gotten to where I can pretty much take them out and put them in without a mirror or anything. So that's been good. But it took about a week to get used to putting them in and taking them out correctly, to where the one issue I had was removing them and try not to, I guess, scratch my eye with them or irritate my eyes taking them out. But I've gotten pretty good about removing them in a way to where it doesn't really come in contact with my eyes as I'm pulling that out.
Mm-hmm. So much of it is all about the lid spread, both with getting them in and getting them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking your experience would be just interesting to an awful lot of people, because I've noticed, in our Facebook Scleral Lens group, I see a lot of people joining the group that, you have to give a reason when you ask to join the group, and they'll say they've got dry eye and they're wondering whether this might be a solution for them, and they want to see what other people's experiences are from a dry eye standpoint. So we've got a lot of people in the group that are there because of keratoconus, which is more of a vision-driven thing. And I think there's a higher confidence level people have when they've got keratoconus and they're going to get sclerals, that it will all work out well. With dry eye, there's just a lot of question marks hanging over it. I think partly because sclerals haven't really been widely used specifically for dry eye for very long. I mean, I remember not that many years ago when if you asked around in the eye care community, hey, could I try scleral lenses? Will that help? And you'd pretty much get a resounding no from most of the people you asked. And that's changed a lot, which is great because it means just more options coming online for more people.
But yeah, it's been the thing that's provided the most relief. It was just very, I guess, debilitating just for my eyes to constantly be burning and red and just always in pain. Especially the last probably 2 years or so. It's been just almost unbearable at times. So the sclerals have been kind of a lifesaver, I guess you could say.
That's so good to hear. Wow.
But I'd usually check the Facebook group daily just to see any tips, and I've asked a couple of questions out there, and everyone's been great in some of the certain suggestions for eye drops and whatnot to use. I've tried and have had good success with them though, so it's I'm very happy to join the group, and it's been very kind of put any anxiety I have about it kind of to at ease, I guess.
That's great. Yeah, been having a lot of conversations with optometrists lately about anxiety and dry eye and scleral lenses and just how stressful some of this stuff can be for us. I'm not speaking about you specifically or anything, just this broader space of all of the concerns we bring to the table, I mean, including when we first are getting fitted for scleral lenses. Because, I mean, someone like you've just been down so many paths and tried so many things, and that really wears on you over time. And I think the scleral lens fitting process is, it can be taxing in a special way. It's not just about learning to get them in and take them out. It's, is this going to work? And all the question marks. So yeah, really nice to hear from someone who's, for whom that path is going really well. It's good. Phyllis, go for it. Sorry, I just saw your hand.
Thanks.
But I'm not seeing well today.
Let me lower my hand. Took me a while to find that one. Question. I'm considering having a consult to talk about sclerals and my ocular surface disease, and wondering, do all of the environmental things that affect me now in terms of wind or heat or AC, do those still come into play wearing sclerals? You know, I was a contact lens wearer, hard contact lens wearer for 43 years. So I have that under my belt.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out if I add sclerals, a scleral, because I don't think I'm going to. And how is it? Do you know many people who only wear one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, because I think that would be me.
Yeah, I mean, the acoustic neuroma community in general, that's probably the biggest single group I can think of that wear one, but I know plenty of other people.
Okay.
Sometimes it's accidents or nerve damage or some other kind of tumor removal or something, often related to facial paralysis. Or sometimes somebody's just got severe dry eye in one eye and not the other.
Oh, okay.
No, and like sometimes after like some kind of a complication with a plug and somebody's got a really painful eye.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out if the environmental issues that I deal with now and dealt with for 43 years, are those still relevant? You know, it's like, am I adding another something to the expanded mix?
You know, they are and they aren't, because your cornea is under fluid when you've got a scleral lens on.
Okay.
And so no environmental anything is getting at your cornea. I mean, I can stand in my kitchen and chop onions and my corneas will never know it.
Oh,
I think I actually like about having them in is that I once in a blue moon when I am cooking, when I don't have my sclerals in, I'm like, oh my God, I've forgotten what this was like. My eyes
Oh, yeah, chopping
right?
onions, right.
Dry environments and all that. The thing with sclerals is you've still got the any of the uncovered area of the eye, but you've then got the interface between the top of the lens and the underside of your lids. And so depending on somebody's medical condition, that can be not a big deal at all once the lens is like optimized. And for others, it can be a really big deal. So it varies. I mean, for myself, scleral lenses with my sclerals on, I'm not going to be happy on a windy day without wraparounds. In a convention center with air conditioning, like I was at last month, my eyes are not going to be happy. They're going to be a lot better than without the lenses, but they're not going to be happy. Davis, what's your experience with that?
I've noticed with wind or cold weather, my eyes almost feel better when that cold air is hitting them. And it's nice if I'm walking outside and it's very windy, if I'm with somebody and they might, their eyes might start tearing up from the wind and everything. And I don't really feel it. And almost kind of a soothing feeling for me, at least. That's been great. One thing I've noticed is kind of cold air or wind hasn't really affected me at all. I'm kind of curious to see when summer rolls around, how my eyes will deal with the heat, because I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and it gets really dry and humid around here, and so I'm interested to see then kind of how they'll react. But I will say that with wind and cold weather, I haven't really had any issues there.
That's great. Phyllis, I think some of the, like I mentioned, some of the people in our community use moisture chamber glasses over scleral, specifically kind of dealing with the elements. I don't most of the time myself, although sometimes at the office, I have a little hygrometer at my desk, and I might notice on a kind of rougher eye day that the humidity is low, and I might put on a pair of goggles or something. But outdoors is where I personally just some kind of wraparounds. I tend to.
Right. Yeah. I wear wraparound sunglasses pretty much anytime I walk out the door.
So I was thinking of our new, this is not scleral lens related, but I was thinking of our new exposure group earlier today. I spoke with someone who has a child in their early teens with severe corneal damage from exposure. Lid's just not closed, really poor blink and things. And doctor wants to do a tarsorrhaphy. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's basically suturing the lids partly closed.
Right.
And, yeah, naturally, mom's pretty horrified at that prospect and looking for other alternatives. And I was just reflecting on how many younger people I've known that have had scleral lenses, and she's exploring kind of second opinions and some other protective things for them. But it was just making me think about how scleral lenses have kind of partially made it out there in ophthalmology and kind of awareness as an option for exposure situations, but long ways to go still, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the more tools that we have available in our toolkit, then we run into which tool do I use? And I saw a great commercial on TV, and it was a guy with a sledgehammer in one hand, and his friend walks up and taps him on the shoulder and gives him a pair of pliers. And it was the classic, when all you've got to hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I like having more tools in my toolkit. And I've got a couple of toolkits. I've got my mental health toolkit for when, and I worked on putting that together when I'm in a really good headspace, so that when I'm in the, what I call the depression ditch, I can just open that toolbox and, oh, that works, that works, that works, instead of just ruminating in the ditch.
Mhm.
And so I like having, another toolkit for how to deal with my eye, because most of all the other fallout from my facial nerve damage is much easier to deal with. The ocular surface disease and the accompanying anxiety and depression that kind of go hand in hand, they're more of a challenge and a struggle.
Yep. People who have not been through this don't really have any idea what that's like and how much impact it can have.
And are you still finding the dietary changes you made being helpful for mitigating some of your eye distress?
Yeah, I mean, maybe with the exception of one or two kind of bad weeks sometime in the late fall, early winter, I have not gone back to where I was the first half of last year. 2021 was a really rough eye year, but both vision and pain wise, that was a bad space, and that has not come back in that degree since those changes. And I haven't been 100% faithful to the changes either, but for the most part, I'm working really hard at it, and I can see the difference, and it's motivating. I mean,
good. I'm glad that you are seeing the difference. And yeah, it's hard to stay on a particular food path, dietary, nutrition, and supplements all the time, and I occasionally, will go off and, I'll eat something that I know is not good for me and my mouth loves it. And then my body's like, really, Phyllis, you did this? And then usually a day or two later, I'm suffering the consequences, and so it's just sort of like, okay, be kind to yourself.
yeah, that is always good. Advice.
And sometimes it's difficult. Other people sometimes look at me like I have two heads when I talk about what I eat and, more importantly, what I don't eat anymore. And, it's like, really? And you think that's good nutrition? And it's like, all I can say is it works for me.
Yeah.
And I don't proselytize. If somebody asks me, I will definitely share, but I, don't make comments about what other people eat or don't eat. And,
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you're finding some benefit.
Thanks. Yeah, I think what you just described is an important, I find it an important principle for like the support group communities, the Facebook medical related groups and things. You really do get kind of two types. Like a lot of people will jump in and say, well, I tried this and this and they didn't work, or don't bother trying that, it doesn't work. Where at the end of the day, it didn't work for me. Versus a thing doesn't work. I mean, most things that are out there on the market, or talking of diet, concepts for nutrition, they exist because they work for someone and possibly quite a lot of people. So, I mean, I think there's so much value in sharing our personal experiences with each other, but with that framework of understanding that what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for the next.
Oh,
Hey, Davis. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. Davis, I think you were saying something about, was it a heat mask? You were talking about maybe trying to find the right kind of thing to use in the morning. I'm not sure if I heard that right.
Yeah, it's just something to kind of alleviate the grittiness and the redness and the kind of the burning as soon as I wake up. They're very dry. And I'll put on some of the genteel ointment or something like that at night before I go to bed. They always end up waking up just kind of hard to open and just very, very gritty. My doctor did suggest to use Pataday drops when I wake up to kind of alleviate some of that inflammation. And I've noticed that does help though. But yeah, I was thinking about looking into some kind of mask to use first thing in the morning just to kind of, I guess, loosen everything up and just kind of alleviate some of that discomfort.
When you talk about redness too, I wonder if, I don't know, my go-to when I've got redness and things are feeling like just inflamed and really uncomfortable. I use cold compresses rather than warm. I know that's a very individual thing too. I mean, warm compresses can be a really good feel-good thing for some people and not others. And I know they're used more kind of therapeutically for people with meibomian gland dysfunction. Doctors tend to want you using some kind of heat on the lids. But when things hurt and are red, cold sometimes can be good too.
Like I usually have to I keep some eye drops beside my bed. And in order for me to like fully open my eyes and kind of start my day, I have to put those in immediately upon waking up or anytime I've fallen asleep with no contacts in and just, wear my glasses, take a nap or whatever. My eyes are always very dry whenever I wake up though. So usually I always have to keep a pair of drops around just to be able to open my eyes. In general, it's just that bad where I have to have them just to get up and move around.
Do you have the issue where your lids aren't closing fully at night? Is that part of the thing, or is it just strictly from not enough tear film overnight?
No, they're closing. It's just not enough tear film. I just have just a terrible time producing tears. But that's it. They're closing. I've I've had people check to make sure they are closed to see if that could be an issue, and they say, "Yeah, no, your eyes were closed." So, because my mother has severely dry eyes though, and so she's constantly putting in drops and whatnot though, and so through this whole kind of battle, I've kind of been saying to her, "Well, I'm trying this drop, and doing this, and this." So we're both kind of going through it together, I guess. But she's kind of had it lifelong. Mine's just, like I said, started probably about 6 years ago, and I've been wearing contacts for probably 18 or 19 years. And then it got to a point where the soft contacts just would dry out of my eyes, and I couldn't wear them anymore.
Phyllis, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, I thought I heard Davis say that he uses a genteel ointment at night. Is that correct?
Yes, I kind of used an assortment of ones just to try to figure out what will work. I mean, I've used so many different drops and whatnot. I used the genteel lubricating gel. I've used the Soothe preservative-free nighttime gel. The Sustain nighttime gel, and the genteel ointment at night.
Okay, the reason I was asking is I tried the genteel ointment and had a horrible reaction. And then when I read the ultra fine print, I realized that it had lanolin alcohol. So the ointment that I use overnight is the Bausch & Lomb Soothe overnight ointment. And I find that one particularly helpful.
Okay, yes, that's one of the ones I have, the nighttime Soothe ointment.
Yeah, the nighttime ultra dry. Let me find my box. Hang on one second.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Soothe as one of the things that you had tried, Davis, but yeah. most ointments do have lanolin alcohol. Back on the old dry eye forum, every now and then somebody would post that like had used ointment for a really long time, and then they just seemed to be getting worse. And so they kind of went cold turkey. They quit ointment. Maybe they were using some drops, or maybe they were just using like goggles overnight, one of the moisture goggles or something. And lo and behold, they actually got better, or just weren't getting as bad overnight. That always stuck with me, just because, I don't know, sometimes with lubricants, it's like step forward, step backward. And ointments can be protective for the cornea, but sometimes an ingredient can be irritating at the same time. So it's like you're getting the protection from dryness, but you're also kind of getting flared up. Not suggesting that's the case for you, Davis. I just made me think of that when you talked about redness.
Well, I will say when I don't use anything, it's worse in the morning than if I didn't put in one of those multiple ointments or gels that I had mentioned. I've tested that out, and I've noticed it is considerably worse when not using anything, or when just putting in just a basic preservative-free drop before bed. It's usually some type of the gels or ointments to kind of make it not as bad in the mornings, though.
Right.
But I definitely have to put something in before bed, or it's more in the mornings.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't suggest going from ointment to nothing, for sure. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, have you ever tried one of the moisture goggle type things overnight?
I've not, no.
Since you're having so much dryness first thing in the morning, it might be worth trying. I mean, some people will just kind of even use like a light blocking sleep mask lined with plastic wrap, something that just is like trapping moisture right over their eyes. Anyway, a lot of people seem to benefit. It might be worth a try.
Yeah, when you were discussing, I went and found your videos on YouTube, and so I want to watch them a little bit later, and that you discussed. So you've been a big help with all of your videos and everything. This kind of transition to the Scleral Zone. So thank you.
My pleasure. Phyllis, is that your hand up, or is it just left over?
No, sorry, I forgot to put it down. I read on the Soothe box, and I think I've looked at some other detailed ingredient lists, and the Soothe nighttime ointment is supposed to be no lanolin alcohol.
Yeah.
And then that one time I used the Genteel without very carefully reading the ingredients. I woke up the next morning and it was just one of the worst eye days I'd had in years. And, trying to figure out what did I do? And the only thing new I did was the Genteel ointment instead of the Soothe. And so I found I had some sterile saline, and I just washed my eye out, and then I put a cold pack on it, because I'm like you. When I'm having any kind of nerve or inflammation, for me, cold is the best. I found that if I have a muscle problem like neck or shoulder or something, heat works great. But I can't put anything hot on my eye. I tried a couple of different masks, the kind you warm in the microwave and all of that. And that just made everything way worse for me. But, it's, again, I don't like using the word unique, but we're all unique in what works, because I've had other people say, oh, you should never use cold. You should always use a warm compress. And I've tried the warm wet compresses, and that just makes the, she calls it subconjunctival hemorrhage. just makes it worse.
Oh, gosh.
You know, and then it just, every time I blink, it just feels like I've got sand because the vessels just keep running into my eyelid, the inside of my eyelid. So it's like, okay, let's not go there. Davis, have you ever tried the any of the TheraTears product line? I use their liquid gel is my all-day daytime stuff. Plus, I keep all my stuff in the refrigerator because I find that putting cold stuff is much more soothing, especially first thing in the morning.
Yes, I used when I was using the serum tears. Those are kept in the refrigerator, and I know those were very soothing. I've tried the TheraTears nighttime gel.
Mhm.
And I actually kind of felt worse with those.
Mm.
Used it for a few nights though, and was hoping because I used kind of their normal eye drop though, and had good success with it though. But the TheraTears liquid gel, I just didn't really have much success with it though. It almost kind of felt like my eyes were stuck together a little bit too much.
Okay.
In the mornings.
Yeah, that's that kind of the downside, I think, of using the thicker gels. You know, some people do really, that's my go-to. That's the thinnest, you know, of anything that I use is a liquid gel. I also used to use Refresh brand preservative-free Celluvisc.
Yes, I actually just purchased that recently. I was going to give that a shot. So
Okay. Yeah, I just I'm just a real big preservative-free person for anything I put in my eye. And so I'm, you know, always looking for something that works. And I used the Celluvisc for a very long time. And then when they had, when it wasn't available, Aiden from the Dry Eye Foundation suggested the TheraTears liquid gel. And that works even better for me than the Celluvisc. So I'm sticking with the TheraTears liquid gel. And I don't have a clue how any of that would work if I start wearing a scleral lens.
Mm. Right. Yeah. For most of us, I think when you've got your lenses in, I mean, hopefully you just don't need drops when they're in. But if you do, having that rigid lens in kind of limits what you can put on top of it because you really don't want to put anything thick on top of it. So most of us tend to put thinner ones, but
Right.
also a lot of people are adding some kind of preservative-free lubricant drop to the bowl of the lens along with the saline.
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, sometimes I'll use I think it's the BioTrue hydration preservative free. I'll put 1 or 2 drops in there along with maybe like a Pure Lens Plus solution. That's the one I found that's kind of worked the best, and I'll put 1 or 2 of those drops in there, and those seem to help though. I think it's Sustain Hydration Preservative Free drops. I put 1 or 2 drops of those in there, and I haven't really had to put any throughout the day once I have my lenses in. Usually after about 8 or 9 hours of wear, I'll start to get some fogginess though. But as far as needing any drops throughout the day, I haven't really had that issue other than just the left eye irritation. But yeah, putting 1 or 2 of those drops in the bowl usually helps me at least.
You said the BioTrue one, the new BioTrue, whatever it's called, hydration drop.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be a good one. I'm a big fan of the sodium hyaluronate drops, and Sustain Hydration is another one of those. Several out there, but I think the Sustain
Hydration Boost.
Hydration Boost, that's right. Yeah.
Rebecca, I'm sorry, I need to leave. I appreciate all the information today, Davis. It was wonderful hearing, because you're like a new scleral lens wearer, and I'm about to look into becoming a scleral lens wearer. And I wore rigid contact lenses for 43 years. And so I know that if I do decide to go down the scleral route, that, you know, I'm adding a whole nother bunch of things to do every day that I got to give up from the time I had my cataract surgery until that was 2006, and the damage happened from the next surgery in 2014. So I had a real good run with, you know, nothing, because I had implanted multifocal lenses as part of my cataract surgery. And I had 2015 vision post cataract surgery. And, you know, after 43 years of wearing contact lenses all day, every day, it was just a wonderful respite.
Yeah.
You know, if the scleral will be beneficial, I can go down that road.
My hope for you would be, I mean, it's a well-trodden path in acoustic neuroma at this point. Not that that means it works for everyone, but my hope for you would just to bring some more quality of life, that not just adding things to the routine, but also just bringing more comfort for longer, freeing you up from
Oh yeah,
just dependence on other routines too.
yeah. Because, you know, I've got the routine from the moment I wake up in the morning, you know, with putting something in my eye. So, you know, and I was a very good contact lens wearer. So I keep thinking that that history will enable me to insert and remove a scleral with less weirdness than maybe somebody who never wore contact lenses.
Yeah.
You know, and just doesn't know how to keep their eye open when their fingers are touching their eye. So, okay, thanks again very much. Davis, thank you very much. And I appreciate all the information, and best of luck to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Coming, Phyllis. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye, Rebecca.
Bye. Davis, I'm curious what it took for you to move to that step to get into scleral lenses. Was it like a current doctor recommended them? Was it more about kind of doing your own research? How did you end up going in that direction?
I mean, honestly, Rebecca, it was just I've tried everything, and I've been trying everything for the last several years, every type of different drop, and went to 3 or 4 different eye doctors, and then finally one was just like, well, we can try these things called scleral lenses, and I'd never heard of them before, and so it was kind of a last resort to get to them, and so that's kind of what led me to getting them. It was just I was kind of out of options, and I've tried everything. And nothing. The serum tears worked well, but it's just I'm having, you know, you have to put those in 4 times a day, and they get pretty expensive though. And I still couldn't really wear my contacts. My eyes would still just kind of, I guess, eat those alive, if you will, and dry out within maybe 2 hours. So I was just looking for more of a permanent solution, and this was one of the options that they had suggested and tried them. And it's quality of life the last month or so has definitely improved, I would say. And it's nice to not have to, like, I'd had to keep drops in my, like, even contact drops in my car anywhere I went somewhere, just because I knew my eyes were gonna get dried out, whether I'm wearing the contacts in or without. And so it was just kind of so frustrating just to have to bring drops around everywhere. And it's just been nice the last month to to not have to worry about when I go somewhere to grab an eye drop, and I can just go, and
Mm.
then really affects it. And so that's been a relief more than anything. And I will say, I work in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. So I'm kind of constantly staring at screens. So somebody with dry eyes, that definitely does not help to have a computer-based job as far as my eyes responding to that, though.
For sure. So how are you doing with the screen time with the Sclerals in? Is it improving your comfort while you're on the computer?
I haven't really noticed any issues though. So yeah, I would say that it has improved the comfort. I don't really have any straining issue. They kind of they feel the same kind of throughout the day. I guess after like I had said before, 8 or 9 hours into it, I'll start getting a little bit irritating or foggy though, and then usually I'll take them out around 5 p.m. and then that usually buys me another 3 or 4 hours of comfort before they're both ready to be taken out for the day, that which by then it's been probably 12 hours of use. But as far as just eye strain from the computer with them in, I haven't really had any issues with those. Brightness really hasn't affected it either, which I have my brightness in certain things for my computer to kind of help with the eye strain. But no, I haven't really had any issues with it, which has been great, because usually after staring at the computer for 10 or 15 minutes, my eyes get very irritated and we'll have to put in a drop. And so it's kind of a constant thing throughout the day. But with these, I haven't really had to do that.
That's awesome. So when you said you remove them at the end of the day and that buys you more time, you meant like taking them out, rinsing, refilling, putting them back in?
Yes, take them out, refill them, put just a preservative-free drop in my eye. In the meantime, as I'm taking them out and cleaning them, and then, like I said, refilling them again, and then putting them back into my eye.
Mm-hmm. How was your fitting process? Did it take a long time to get to get to the point where you've got the pair that you have now?
Well, I had mine custom fitted, and so they did kind of the eye impression and everything, and so
Gotcha.
I haven't really had to make any adjustments until recently, where we might have to make the left eye smaller and whatnot. Though, but no, mine were like I said, custom fitted, and then the doctor that I saw suggested it. More expensive option, of course, though, but it's just, he said these would be more comfortable, and if you can afford it, I would recommend this option. And so I did. And as far as the fitting with the normal ones, that the first day, these definitely feel better than that first day fitting with just the ones that weren't custom made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the impression-based technology is amazing. I wore that type for quite a few years, and I still remember the first time I went through that process when they did the impressions. I never really believed that it could be a slam dunk. They take the impression, you get the lens, you're kind of done, but it really was how it worked. We might have had to do some kind of minor tweak, but that was nice. And compared to situations where like you're trying a pair, then they got to make the tweaks. I mean, it's the conventional way. This is how it works. And then you wait a few weeks, go back, get another pair and try them. Having the turnaround and getting to the final fit fast, I think really takes a lot of the stress out of the process, to just the uncertainty. Are we going to get there? Is this normal? I mean, I think of some of the common questions we get in the group. I'm on my third set. Is this normal? Shouldn't we be there by now? And the answer is nope. It takes a while. It can take many iterations. But to have the luxury of that technology where you don't have to go through the back and forth is very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, I opted just to pay more and just to have it kind of done right the first time and not have to deal with the back and forth. So I've been pleased with that, I guess.
And it sounds like you've got a doctor who's just really well engaged with this too and giving you some options with that. Was it the left lens you said that you were having some issues with still, just comfort wise?
Yeah. Yes, we've kind of mapped out kind of a plan going forward to see what we can do. And one of them was just a certain type of drop to put in during the day, just to help with the eye discomfort for the left, and then just to try that out, that particular drop for a few weeks, and then after a month or so, when I go back, we'll see about taking the coating off and see if that provides any relief, but or making the lens smaller was the other option as well, though. So I'm just kind of hesitant about the coating, so I'd rather try a few other smaller options before we get to that measure, though.
Mm-hmm. Which having options to experiment with is good. There's lots of potential ways forward. All right. Well, it is just about 6 here. Oh, wow. Okay. So you're Alabama, East Coast, 9 o'clock over there.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here, but really glad you came, and thanks for coming and sharing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, though. And I've kind of learned a lot the last couple of weeks with these calls and suggestions and whatnot, though. And I'll look into those moisture goggles and to see if those might just would help with that morning irritation. So
Right. Yeah, they're not for everyone, but it's definitely one of those worth trying things if you're having a lot of symptoms in the morning. Okay, so let's see. This was our third for April. So our next one, we have a prose one next week, which is a little different. Then it'll be March. Our first one will be March 2nd. That's all on the Dry Eye Foundation calendar. So hope to see you again another time and hear about your progress.
yes, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.